Shalewa's burden was her secret. The sound of her step reverberated throughout Adetunji Comprehensive High School's hallways. At 16, she strode with purpose, her textbooks pressed firmly against her chest. Shalewa was a bright light of intelligence who consistently performed at the top of her class. Her teachers praised her hard work, and her peers murmured about her brilliance in the classroom. However, beneath the surface of success, Shalewa held a secret that threatened to destroy her carefully built world. While her father worked as a local contractor, her mother, Ayabode, sells banana at the busy market. Her older brother, Ajay Hai, had given up on his education to pursue a career as a carpenter. But Shalewa held fast to her hopes for a better future. Shalewa believed in hard work, education, and their church's teachings. She would sweep the floors of their humble home every morning before the sun painted the sky. The rhythmic swish of the broom followed her gentle humming and melody that flowed through the air as she tidied up. Every Sunday, an obese man with a loud voice named Pastor Ogunro stood at the pulpit to deliver sermons emphasizing the value of purity and delaying intimacy until marriage. Shalewa listened, taking in every word with her heart. She blended her voice with the crowds as she sang songs. The church served as her sanctuary, a place where she went to find comfort and direction. Shalewa was alone with Pastor Ogunro one fateful day as the sun slanted through the stained glass windows. He beckoned her to the front, promising to pray for her forthcoming examinations. Though his hands trembled as he placed them on her forehead, his whispered words, "The Holy Spirit has spoken," sent shivers down her spine. "You have to do as he says." Shalewa's eyes grew wide. "But sir, I have never—" "Shh." He cut her off, saying, "Silence, my daughter. This is God's will." His authority weighed heavily on her. She felt overwhelmed, her purity taken from her inside the church's sacred walls. Pastor Ogunro told her that God is forgiving and that this was a divine way, but she felt guilty deep down, and her monthly cycle stopped. When panic struck, she texted the pastor. With trembling fingers, she confessed to Pastor Ogunro that the worst had happened to her. He responded quickly and rudely. "Do you hear me when I say to never mention my name to anyone or at school?" Shalewa's teachers, who had previously been attentive, observed her change. She fell asleep during class, her face white and her eyes haunted, and when they asked, she murmured something about being sick. Her best friend Bunmi felt the truth in the silence of the girls' lavatory. Shalewa revealed that she was 1 month pregnant, and Pastor Ogunro was the father. With a gasp, Bunmi covered her lips with her palm. "We need to tell someone, Shalewa." "No," Shalewa sounded off. "He ordered me not to mention his name." "But this isn't right," Bunmi protested. "This is a man of God, and you are carrying his child." "Exams are coming up," Shalewa said, "and I am stuck." Shalewa grabbed her stomach throughout algebra class as her discomfort worsened. With her dreams crushed by the weight of her secret, she wondered how she would face her parents, teachers, and classmates, her mind a tornado of guilt and terror. Shalewa was sweeping the backyard one morning when she slipped to the brink. The scorching sun observed her suffering, and she wondered whether redemption was waiting for her on the other side of the border. For the time being, nevertheless, she kept her secret, a frail life developing inside of her, while singing a broken song in her heart and beneath the harsh sky. Despite the dangers that lay ahead, Shalewa clung to hope, believing that somehow, amid the twisted webs of betrayal and faith, redemption would find her. Shalewa swore to find a way out for herself and the child she carried. A frail life concealed behind her school uniform, feeling dizzy, and exhaustion were all silent witnesses to her struggle. But she clung to her quiet out of dread of being judged and shamed. Shalewa's secret had grown within her. When Shalewa went outside to throw up, Her mother Ayabode saw that her once vibrant face now bore the mark of secrets. Concerned for her well-being, Ayabode trailed along and inquired, "What's wrong, my child Shalewa?" Shalewa said, "It's just a fever, Mom." After she hesitated for a brief period, the devoted mother brought her to the clinic for a diagnosis, but they were perplexed when the malaria tests came back negative. However, the reality stayed hidden. After 2 months, the symptoms became more severe. When Ayabode's nurse friend paid her a visit, she observed Shalewa with piercing eyes. She asked her if she was pregnant. With her voice piercing the atmosphere, Shalewa's denial was quick. "No, I'm not, but you are," the nurse insisted. Ayabode disregarded the pregnancy test at the clinic proved it was real, even if it was a hoax. She faced Shalewa, her hand finding her daughter's cheek as shock seeped through her veins. "Who is the father?" Shalewa's eyes met her mother's with tears. "You've been sleeping around." Ayabode's voice broke. "No, Mom," Shalewa murmured. "What you think is not the case." Her father was furious and made threats to kick her out of the house, but he changed his mind after hearing from friends and family. At school, Shalewa's reputation took a tumble. Judgment and rumors trailed her like shadows. Her aspirations vanished as she struggled in her tests. Ayabode insisted that church pastor Ogunro's prayers would guarantee a safe delivery as her pregnancy entered its 9th month. However, Shalewa had left the church, her faith broken. Despite being betrayed, she returned one Sunday with a strong resolve to uncover Pastor Ogunro, the person who had taken her innocence. The congregation did not know the storm that was building inside of her. With a thunderous voice, Pastor Ogunro ascended the pulpit. "Young ladies, take note. Unplanned pregnancy is shameful. It can ruin your future," he warned strongly. With her fury blazing, Shalewa stood and said, her voice piercing the sacred atmosphere. She pointed her finger at Pastor Ogunro and yelled loudly, saying, "You are the one responsible for my pregnancy." Ayabode's expression changed to one of bewilderment as her eyes widened. The peace of the church was disturbed in that instant by Shalewa's revelation. As the congregation struggled with the reality, Shalewa found her voice and decided to recreate her story with dignity. Despite the fragility of her scream against hypocrisy, redemption waited for her behind the windows made of stained glass, a road she was determined to pave, even if it meant facing off against the guy who had violated her trust. Shalewa wept uncontrollably as her mother's comments reverberated throughout the cathedral. "Are you crazy? Do you want the wrath of God upon you?" As they observed, the congregation's eyes widened with scrutiny. Outside the church, Pastor Ogunro, who had previously revered her, suddenly denounced her as the devil's tool. Ajayi, Shalewa's brother, discovered her crying. His face was a picture of concern. "What's causing your tears? Did you not pass your exams?" Shalewa gave a headshake. "No, the devil himself is the one who got me pregnant." "Did you not know he was the devil before?" Ajayi mocked. "He forced himself on me, her voice trembling. I was raped by him." Ajayi became enraged. "How come you didn't tell me? Who is this guy? I'll take care of him." Shalewa's vision went blurry from weeping. Pastor Ogunro is untouchable, and Ajayi's shock was reflected in her own. "The man of God." Shalewa gave a nod. "When I tried to expose him in church, no one took me seriously and called me a bad kid." Ajayi clenched his hands. "Do you possess any proof?" Shalewa got her phone back, and all of the voicemails and recordings are here as evidence. Screaming, "Stand up! We're heading to the police station!" Ajayi lost control. When Pastor Ogunro was confronted by the police at the church, his trembling hands were unable to hide his guilt. With her unwavering voice, Shalewa played the damaging tapes, leaving the congregation in a state of shock and betrayal. The mask of the holy man fell away, exposing a predator. The police moved quickly. The church doors were closed after Pastor Ogunro received a prison sentence. Unwilling to accept that their shepherd had failed, some members clung to denial while Shalewa's truth held sway. In a soiled refuge, a beacon of justice. Shalewa's belly expanded with life, and her spirit glowed with resilience as the sun sank beyond the horizon on her first day at school. She was going to finish school, create a new chapter in her life, and take back her dignity. Her redemption was waiting. A route she would forge, one bold step at a time. Shalewa also promised, deep in her heart, to stand up for people silenced by sacredness and to defend others against false prophets. Because she was aware that the devil occasionally dressed like a clergyman, and truth and courage held the key to salvation. With her newborn son's small fingers around her own, Shalewa held him close, feeling the weight of his life pressing down on her. A reminder of innocence, passion, and betrayal. Staring into his eyes, she wondered if he harbored the same rebellious spirit that burned in her. She struggled with the decision. She could not keep him, not when every midnight cry would echo past the church. Her parents begged Shalewa to change her mind, but she refused to listen. The infant merited an opportunity at a life apart from shadows. She then put him in the arms of an affluent couple, whose smiles concealed their own stories of desire while her cheeks were red. They pledged to cherish the child forever and to provide it with education, affection, and a future. Shalewa's heart was both heavy and relieved as she saw them vanish into the distance. "Are you sure, my child?" her mother Iabode asked as she embraced her. Shalewa gave a nod. "Yes, Mom. For the sake of us both." Her father had lost faith in pastors and sanctuaries and in the fundamental structure of trust, as evidenced by his silence. He did, however, honor Shalewa's decision to choose the strength that came from vulnerability. Shalewa buried herself in textbooks when she got back to school. Driven by justice, she was determined to pursue a legal education and become an advocate for the marginalized. As a truth seeker, the courtroom would turn into her haven, a place where she might alter the course of events, where there awaited redemption. Shalewa's scores served as a testament to her resilience as her examinations came and went without a hitch. The university greeted her warmly and let her paint her dreams on its revered halls. She promised to demolish pedestals and reveal hypocrisy and shield others from false prophets. And her son's memory was engraved in her heart as she put on her graduation robe. Shalewa knew she had won. Although her wounds were still visible, they no longer defined who she was. She entered the world as a symbol of resilience and strength. Shalewa discovered that sometimes finding redemption meant moving forward rather than forgetting. She would always have her son as her silent witness, unflappable, unwavering, and fearless.